Adosa, or number 6, Odosa, non-hatred, tolerance, loving kindness. Adosa is opposed to anger, or dosa, and it can overcome dosa. It is not mere absence of hatred or aversion, but is a positive virtue. It is the most constructive element, whereas anger is the most destructive element. We practice pancha sila and metta to develop a dosa. Dosa has the characteristic of roughness and cruelty, whereas mildness and forgiveness is the chief characteristic of a dosa. Dosa is like an enemy, whereas a dosa is like an agreeable good friend. A dosa manifests as tolerance, or khanti, in suppressing anger, and consequently as forgiveness, a very noble quality, as the saying goes, forgiveness is divine. A dosa is also reflected as goodwill for its nature of kindness and helpfulness. It is one of the 3 moral roots. When a dosa turns its attention to living beings, wishing them to be well and happy, it is known as metta, i.e., loving kindness, one of the most beautiful qualities leading to world peace. Indeed, we shall attain lasting world peace if everyone practices tolerance and loving kindness. Number 7. Tatra majatata. Equanimity, mental balance. The chief characteristic of Tatra majatata is impartial view of all things without attachment and aversion, i.e., keeping in the middle of all things. It is compared to a charioteer who drives 2 horses to run at equal pace. It also acts like the chairman of a meeting, giving equal chance to its participants to act. It balances consciousness and mental factors to function together at equal pace, preventing any excessiveness or deficiency. In the sense of equanimity, it is mostly known as upekkha. This upekkha is the state in the middle between karuna, or compassion, and mudita, or sympathetic joy. It is different from hedonic upekkha, which is neutral feeling. 8 and 9. Kaya pasadi and Citta pasadi. Here, kaya does not mean body. It refers to the group of mental factors. Pasadi is tranquility, calmness, quietude, or serenity. So kaya pasadi is tranquility of mental factors, whereas Citta pasadi is tranquility of consciousness. From pasadi to ujjhata, there are 6 pairs of Cetasikas, which go by the prefix kaya and citta. The reason they were described in pair by the Buddha is that they occur together, and together they oppose their opponents. In the case of saddha, sati, iri, ottappa, alobha, adosa, and tatra majatata, they are described as singles because individually they can oppose their opponents. By citta pasadi, only citta is tranquil. By kaya pasadi, not only are the mental concomitants tranquil, but also the body is tranquil due to the diffusion of wholesome mind-produced materiality. Pasadi has the chief characteristic of suppressing or allaying feverishness of passions. It serves as the cool shade of a tree to a person affected by the sun's heat. Pasadi is opposed to kakucha, or worry. Number 10 and 11. Kaya lahuta and citta lahuta. Lahuta is lightness or buoyancy or agility. Kaya lahuta is the lightness and agility of mental factors. Citta lahuta is the lightness and agility of consciousness. Suppressing the heaviness of mental factors is the chief characteristic of kaya lahuta. Suppressing the heaviness of the citta is the chief characteristic of citta lahuta. It is like the laying down of a heavy burden. Kaya lahuta and citta lahuta are opposed to sloth and torpor, which cause heaviness and rigidity in mental factors and consciousness. Number 12 and 13. Kaya mudita and citta mudita. These two Cetasikas refer to the elasticity of mental factors and the elasticity of consciousness, respectively. They remove the stiffness in the mind caused by immoral Cetasikas such as ditthi, false view, and mana, conceit. Mudita is compared to a skin that is pliable because it is well molded by applying oil, water, etc. Mudita is opposed to false view and conceit. 14 and 15. Kaya kamanyata and citta kamanyata. These two Cetasikas refer to the adaptability of mental factors and consciousness and the goodness in carrying out their duty. Their chief characteristic is the suppression of unserviceableness or unworkableness of consciousness and mental factors. 16 and 17. Kaya pagunyata and citta pagunyata. They refer to the proficiency or skillfulness of mental factors and consciousness in doing their work. Their chief characteristic is the suppression of the sickness in mental factors and consciousness. 18 and 19. Kayu jukata and Chittu jukata. They refer to the uprightness or straightness in mental factors and consciousness, respectively. Thus, they are opposed to crookedness, deception, and craftiness due to illusion or deceit, maya, and treachery, satya. The 19 beautiful mental factors mentioned above become prominent in people who regularly perform the act of almsgiving, morality, and meditation. As they associate together with all beautiful cittas, they are known as Sobhana Sardharrana Cetasikas. Abstinent mental factors, Virati Cetasikas. They represent 3 path factors of the Noble Eightfold Path. They constitute the morality training, Sila Sika, which is the foundation of the Noble Eightfold Path. Number 1. Sama Vacha, right speech. The right speech is fourfold, i.e., abstaining from wrong speeches. Number 1. Musawada, lying. Number 2. Pisuna Vacha, slandering. Number 3. Farusa Vacha, harsh speech. Number 4. Sampapalapa, frivolous talk. When one comes face to face with the situation to commit one of the above 4 false speeches, and one abstains from saying it, then one acquires samavacha at the instant of abstinence. Samarkamanta, right action. The right action here means the bodily action which is abstinence from 3 wrong actions. Number 1. Panitipata, killing any living being. Number 2. Adinadana, stealing others' properties. Number 3. Kamisu michachara, misuse of the senses, sexual misconduct. Again, when one is in the situation about to commit one of the 3 immoral actions, and one abstains from committing it, then one acquires sama kamanta at the moment of abstinence. Number 3, sama ajiva, right livelihood. The right livelihood means abstaining from a livelihood that brings harm to living beings, such as trading in arms, human beings, live animals, poison, intoxicating drinks and drugs, as well as slaughtering, fishing, soldiering, deceit, treachery, soothsaying, trickery, etc. Thank you. One must abstain from the 4 evil speeches and the 3 evil bodily actions in earning a livelihood. Illimitable mental factors. Appamannyar Cetasikas.
Video frame shut down like shut 7 minutes solution. The video she's at the solution. Sobhana Sardharrana in Sangavu video. She's at the
Go to here?
yeah, we'll go.
Okay.
She's at the
Thank you, Vandisada. Number 1, karuna, compassion, pity. Pity. Number 2, mudita, sympathetic joy, feel glad to see others' success. There are 4 illimitables or boundless states. To mention them in the order they are usually practiced, they are metta, or loving kindness, karuna, or compassion, mudita, sympathetic joy, and upekkha, or equanimity. It has been described above that metta is included in adosa and upekkha in tatra majjhatata. So only the remaining 2 are described here. In practicing any one of the 4 illimitables, we may concentrate our attention on a single person or on all living beings in the whole world. So they are named illimitables or boundless states. In practicing loving kindness, we meditate, may all living beings be happy and well. In cultivating compassion, we meditate, may all miserable beings be free from miseries. For exercising mudita, we rejoice on the prosperity of beings and meditate, may their gain be with them for a long time. In practicing upekkha, we maintain a balanced mind and meditate, all beings are as they are conditioned by their kamas. Anyone who is pervading the whole world with loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, or equanimity is said to be living in the sublime abode, or Brahma abode. So the 4 illimitables are also known as Brahma Vihara, i.e., sublime modes of living. Metta is the sincere wish for the welfare of all beings. It discards ill will, which is its direct enemy. Its indirect enemy is affection, or pima. Benevolent attitude is its chief characteristic. Karuna makes the hearts of good persons quiver when others are afflicted with sorrow. The wish to remove the suffering of others is its chief characteristic. It discards cruelty, himsa, which is its direct enemy. Its indirect enemy is grief, or domanassa. Mudita is not mere sympathy, but appreciative joy. Its chief characteristic is to rejoice in others' prosperity. Its direct enemy is jealousy, or isa, and its indirect enemy is exaltation, or pahasa. It discards dislike, or arati. Upekkha views living beings impartially, i.e., neither with attachment nor with aversion. It is the balanced state of mind. Its direct enemy is passion, or raga, and its indirect enemy is unintelligent indifference. Impartial attitude is its chief characteristic. Wisdom or knowledge, Pannyindriya. Panya is wisdom or insight, and Indriya is the controlling faculty. Pannyindriya has the control over the understanding of things as they really are, i.e., in the light of anicca, or impermanence, dukkha, or suffering, and anatta, or not self. Because it overcomes ignorance, it is called amoha, or non-delusion, or wisdom. Because it can remove the veil of moha from clouding man's mental eyes and throws away the darkness cast by moha, or avijja, it is called vijja, higher knowledge. Pannyindriya is normally called Pannyindriya Cetasikas. In Abhidhammar, Panya, Jnana, and Amoha are synonyms. Amoha is one of the 3 moral roots. As one of the 4 means of accomplishing one's ends, iddhipada, Panya takes the name of vimamsa, analytical wisdom. Panya understands ultimate realities, past existences and future existences, karma and its effect, the law of dependent origination, and 4 noble truths. When purified and cultivated by concentration, samadhi, Panya assumes the powerful role of abhinya, supernormal knowledge. When highly developed, Panya becomes a factor of enlightenment, bojjhanga, under the name of Dhamma Vichaya, investigation of the truth, and also a component of the Noble Eightfold Path under the name of Samadhi, right view. The culmination of Panya is the omniscience of the Buddha.
Thank you.